Where I live in Alabama is not the same as where I work at in Alabama. I work in Birmingham, Alabama, because even though I am open with my status and I'm here on set now, and this could go anywhere, but I'm not waving a red flag. I may have red on, but I'm not waving a red flag saying, hey, look at me, I'm HIV positive. In little old rural place in Alabama where I do live at, there's no HIV services at all. And if somebody finds out that you are HIV positive, you may not be able to live in that town. So I do the work, but I do the work elsewhere. In the year 1995, I got orders to go to Honduras. And in the military, there's like this clause that they promised all other countries that they will never send a soldier into another country who is HIV positive. That's one of the tests you have to take before you go overseas. I just did what I had to do because I had orders to go overseas, and I was excited to go. And I got a call from my commander telling me to tell them to halt, stop, put everything back, and we're coming to your house. And in about an hour later, my commander came and my first sergeant came. And they put me and my little girl in the back seat like it was a police car. And they still didn't tell me where they was taking me. It was at Fort Gordon, Georgia. But I was taken like into these woods. And way out in the woods, there was a little white house. And this little nice lady, she was a commander also. And she asked me, did I know why I'm here? And I says, I don't really know, and I don't understand. And then she says, well, the bad news is you're HIV positive. I came home by myself. My daughter was with me. I put her to bed, and I just sat at the bottom of my steps. And there was this little teeny window by the door. And it was raining. And as hard as it was pouring down raining, it was as hard as the tears were streaming down my eyes. Once I went to my boyfriend's house, and I told him, it wasn't funny then, but now that I look at it, it's funny now because we don't even have the yellow pages. He got the yellow pages, and he started flipping through the yellow pages. Oh, my God, I got to find a doctor. I got to find a doctor. And I'm like, here's this card. You have a doctor. She told me to tell you to call her and come see her. And then that's when he started crying, and he said, oh, my God. And he just said, my Lisa, my Lisa. Now that I think about it, sometimes we talk today, and I'm like, you thought about yourself before you thought about me. You said my Lisa, after you went through the yellow pages. But we still have a good relationship. We still talk to this day. After receiving my diagnosis, emotionally, I never felt like killing myself, but I was always scared that I was going to die. I wanted to live because I wanted to be there for my daughter. The biggest challenge at the time of my diagnosis was acceptance. I stayed in denial for a long, long time. And I'm not even talking about acceptance for people in society. Yes, I want acceptance from them, but I have to be okay with myself. I have to be okay in my own skin, and I wasn't. I was scared to work, scared of society, scared of people, scared of stigma, and I just lived in fear. I heard about support groups, and support groups is 86 miles away from my house. So I started attending the support groups in Birmingham. And then I kept attending the support groups, and people kept seeing me showing up, and somebody in the community says, why don't you get a job? And then one time I showed up to the group, and she had the application for me. And so all you have to do is just sign the application. I'm telling you, I know the people, and you get it. And so I signed the application, and then I went in for my interview, and I've been working ever since 2015 at AIDS Alabama as a peer support specialist. When I first got diagnosed, they told me I wasn't sick enough to take medicine. Back then, they labeled me as a long-term non-progressor. Later on, HIV started progressing, and I had to start taking medicine. To me, that was my mindset. It was a new diagnosis, because I only thought about HIV every 6 months when I had to go to the doctor. But then when I had to start taking medicine, I have to look at that bottle. I have a little window in my bathroom, and I put it right there on the windowsill. And I'm like, one day I'm going to get to open this bottle. Now that I'm sick enough to be on medicine, I've done research, and like, there's a lot of toxicities that happens when you take this medicine. I've been living good all this time, and I had school-age children at the time. And I don't know if I was going to be too sick to take them to school. I didn't want nobody to say I'm an unfit mom and take my kids away from me because of HIV. And so I let that bottle sit. And I let it sit in front of my face because as long as I see it, I can't be in denial because I see it. But then it went from denial to being afraid to take it, being afraid to open the bottle, being afraid to touch the bottle. So when I got hired as a peer support specialist, I had to sign a contract saying that I adhere to medication. And I was not only the peer support specialist, I also became the treatment adherence specialist. How can I be a treatment adherence specialist if I'm not adhering to the medicine myself? And it's because I didn't want to be a hypocrite. And it's because of the work. And it's because of that lady getting me into this position. I started taking my medicine the way I'm supposed to every day. I have a very weak stomach. And the medicine was making me nauseous. My kids was able to walk to school on their own. So by me being sick and throwing up and being nauseous, it didn't affect them in their schooling. When taking your medicine every day, it's different for different people. But for me, I went from a detectable viral load to an undetectable viral load within 3 weeks. During the first 7 years, I felt isolated and I was depressed and I stayed on my couch. And it wasn't until I began going to the support groups and people saw me showing up. And then I learned a word called the art of reciprocation. And that word means that when two people is benefiting, helping each other, it's like a helping exchange. And at that time, I saw where I can help. I had decided to go back to school, and I went to college, and I got my bachelor's degree in human services, and I accelerated. I graduated with honors. But in that school, they teach you the helping process. And each semester, you had to do something for the community, a community give back. Then when I came back to Alabama, that's when I was able to get a job. A lot of people don't get jobs in what they graduated in. And so I was able to get a job in what I graduated in. Community is the heartbeat of the HIV movement. If it wasn't for a community, I might not have no heartbeat. Community is inspiration. Community is movement. Community is everything. The community taught me the things that I know now. Community taught me education. Community taught me how to treat people, how to teach people how to treat me. Just being there for yourself, showing you how to show up, even when you don't feel like showing up, because the framework of HIV is bigger than Lisa Johnson-Lett. It's big. It's huge. And if I could impact other people the way the community has impacted me, I think HIV would be a little bit easier.